potential young guy, big. We've spoke about Big Show many a times on this podcast. One of the most sort of underused guy that there's probably ever been. That they, the most potential they probably had was with a Big Show. When you consider there's not going to be too many times you get somebody of his mass and size come in. So this is his first King of the Ring. I mean, I guess he would have been probably a front runner as well of the list of guys that are in this, because he was quite new, and I guess it would have been a bit of a statement to have him there, as we see him going up against Kane. Interesting. Now, he's an interesting person to put in King of the Ring in the first place, the character of it. I wonder where that would have gone for someone like Kane. But yeah, Kane involved in this match, and this was when Kane, I really enjoyed Kane's work around this sort of time. So he was still I think by this point, Matt, people had accepted Kane was not going to be a short run, and that he was going to be around in WWE for a long time, because everybody kind of first thought that the 97 entrance that he had when he first debuted, that he was just going to be a short stint for the storyline with The Undertaker. But of course he broke off that, and he just became his own thing, but a necessary thing nonetheless, as we see Kane and the Big Show going at it, sort of huge big men in that ring. Is there one more favourite than the other out of these two, Matt, that you've liked over the years?
I would have to say I prefer Kane out of the two of them. I mean, like I say, Big Show, he had tremendous potential, but I don't think they ever really used it correctly. I think the same could be said about Kane, though, because he's never really had that many top tier runs. But I'm just a fan of like the way Kane is a big man, and he is also quite agile for the size of him. And his moveset, I always like that as well. And when they get him right, his kind of aggression and that inside of him comes across really well as a character. I don't think there's ever been too many characters quite like Kane. I think that's why he topped both of our monsters list as well, didn't he?
I believe so. Yes, I believe so. He was there. I don't think it was really hard not to. By the end of it, I think we both felt like that. And this, like, you'll see it in this match as well. Like when you see him going to those top ropes and things like that. I mean, it's just that's what he brings, that big man element style. It's like it wasn't enough to just be a big guy. You had to kind of try and be a bit more innovative and try these other things. And they certainly did that back then.
Yeah, and then he always had a sort of interesting kind of gimmick to him as well, because at first he didn't speak at all, then he had that kind of robotic voice, and then slowly more and more of him got stripped away bit by bit. Like one arm came out, then two arms came out, then the mask came off, it's all bit by bit he got stripped away, and I'm glad he's, gone a bit more back to his roots these days.
Yeah, thankfully. I'm not a massive fan of of Corporate Kane. I don't think I've made that quite apparent, I think, with everyone. This match so far, Matt, I mean, what are you making of it? It's very well. Looks like it's been very well thought out and booked of what they've tried to do here with this.
Yeah, they're pacing it quite well, I guess. Not really putting any pressure on the Big Show. I guess that's another one of those things where it shows kind of his inexperience, but. A fair play to the guy that when he's come out himself and said that he didn't quite know how to react to other people at this time, and he didn't quite know how to pull off the matches to a great level. But I think it's doing fair enough. Looking at the table though, they definitely looked at it and thought, okay, we can't have Big Show fighting just anybody, because that would be he'd go all the way then. So we've got to have him against Kane, so that one of the big men is eliminated.
Yeah, no, I sensed that. The way that tree went, there'd have to be these two, and at some point, you see all sorts of shenanigans going on here. The fans, like I'm looking around the fans, they look very sort of young, and sort of this is probably the most sort of balanced I've seen probably of all the fans. A lot of kids there, a lot of adults. It looks like a fairly balanced fan base at this point.
Did you see that jawbreaker thing when Big Show did a jawbreaker on Kane, and Kane's head snapped up and hit the referee in the jaw?
Yeah, I don't know how that was meant. So, yeah, I'm glad you picked that up. I was looking at that, I was thinking, if that was supposed to be. See all the stuff flying going on. I'm guessing, Matt. I think this is where. Now, I said last on the last retrospective, I wondered if that fan, the number one fan, would be there, and I said he wouldn't be, but we did finally see him. I'm guessing by this point, I'm sure he wasn't around for the entire Attitude. That's when he sort of faded out.
He must feel for him.
Yeah. Yes, as we get into the, I'm guessing near the ending of this now.
So I'm guessing there might be some sort of underlying storyline, maybe hardcore related. Why Hardcore Holly interjected himself here?
Yeah, now I'm wondering if this is the time around when he kept saying he was the big shot.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I mean, I don't know what sort. I'm sure it would have been in '99 somewhere, in fact. But I know he had that stint where he kept coming out, didn't he? Like, was it to the Undertaker and Big Show at one time as well?
Yeah.
And that was the thing. It was like, I'm the big shot around here and all the rest of it. So, yeah, maybe Bob Holly was certainly making a statement back then, wasn't he?
This is a kind of a weird section here. Like, Kane is just going to choke him out. That's...
Yeah.
Okay. It's working, though.
Mm. Yeah, I'm guessing this is going to lead to the finish of the match now. On this one. It's certainly looking that way.
What a way to go.
Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. So, meaning that we have a Kane going through to the next round then, nonetheless. What did you make of that match, Matt, in general?
Well, I'm not sure there was a lot they could do with it, really. I mean, I guess it was what it was at the time. I don't think they were expecting too much from Big Show. I mean, maybe Kane could have stepped it up a bit, but I think they had to do it at that level, a bit slower. And obviously one of the big guys had to get eliminated. Yeah.
So, poor old Big Show, he's out in the quarterfinals anyway. There were qualifyings to all these, I will say. They did. Seems like they went back into the King of the Ring theme for this year quite a lot. So I'm now just currently watching some replays going on here. God, didn't hold back on the chair shot. We'll say that much.
And it was another one of those instances in wrestling where the referee woke up at just the right time. You know.
Are you? I'm not sure if I trail behind slightly here. Vince McMahon, I have now on my screen. Talking to Michael Cole, and this is like Vince McMahon prime mode now of Mr. McMahon's character. There's been by this point we would have seen so much of that rivalry between Austin and McMahon, but it's one of those things, Matt, where I never really got that bored of it. I was never like, oh, please change it, and because it was so unique at the time, it was still very fresh. That whole boss wrestler relationship, we just hadn't seen that at the time in wrestling. So, although it went on for some time, I just was never sort of not wanting to see it. I was always like captivated by what was going on, and the fact that he always wanted to seem to screw Austin out of everything was just sort of the big chase.
Character never created, isn't it? I guess. I mean, I'm still into that character. If he comes out and starts throwing his weight around a bit, I'm still buying into it.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Arse, as he's now known at the moment in this one, Billy Gunn.
I was surprised when his music hit. A lot of the crowd stood up and was like looking for him. Now he must be pretty big at the time.
Yeah, well, there's obviously tag team champion as well going on, so he's involved with other things as well. But yeah, I mean, I do remember him being that popular with Road Dogg. I mean, like we've said it before. Without question, for me as well, when we've done our Magnificent Seven on tag teams, these guys were, when I think Attitude Era of tag teams, I think of these two guys because they certainly captivated everything that was about it.
Made both for sure.
Yeah, and those two guys in particular had to sort of go through hell to get to this point. I mean, they'd done a lot of gimmicks, a lot of wrestling up until this point, but never got anywhere to the lengths and heights that they got as a duo, these two. So as we see Billy Gunn talking in the ring, so it's a very DX themed looking King of the Ring, I guess, Matt, in a lot of ways, with who's around in this. That's far.
And I see Shamrock is not happy as usual.
Yeah, Shamrock looks mad. Now, we said this last time. As he's like goading these two, what are they, officers? God. Yeah. So Shamrock's pissed.
I guess they might be trying to stop him going out there.
Yeah. It's like that's like a little mini version of the Goldberg entrance, isn't it? Okay, but in this case, he's going to beat them up. They're actually going to walk him out. He's just going to be like, no, get out of my way. So Ken Shamrock now. Yeah.
I guess right now, Shamrock must be one of the favourites to win this.
Well, now, I was going to say, Matt, is this the first time that we've had... No, it wouldn't be, because Brett had gone back into King of the Ring, hadn't he? Had that happen? No, it wasn't Brett. It wasn't... No, Brett didn't. Brett done something else. So is this the first time that we've seen a former King of the Ring go and participate in, another King of the Ring tournament itself, like somebody that's won it?
Well, we saw Owen Hart in the previous one. But I think back to back, this is certainly the first.
So Owen Hart would be another one of those guys. This is interesting that they've done this, but a nice little idea nonetheless, because despite Ken Shamrock's crazy shenanigans coming out, it would have probably put Ken Shamrock, as Matt said, in a spot to win this almost, or at least get quite far. So they certainly would have given the surprise element to all this. But yeah, Matt, I mean, a year on, this is a King of the Ring. We always talk about our former King of the Ring winners if they're involved, and unfortunately, when we talk about levels of going up, he didn't really go up the tier much, did he? After that, it just didn't really work out for Ken Shamrock. I don't even recall him having a main event match at all, especially on pay-per-view. That wouldn't have happened. But were there any sort of huge things that stand out for the reason why it never happened, Matt?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question, because I could see where they were going with this, because, of course, looking at Shamrock and where he comes from and his background, he must have had, amazing potential for them to come in and say, well, this guy is a legit fighter, he knows how to hurt people, he was paid for a living to just, take it to the extreme and, not just go out there and try and pin someone, go out there and try and knock someone out or make them submit. I can see where they were going, and they needed someone like this, previous to what they got now with Brock Lesnar. If they had that in the early late 90s to early 2000s, that would have been a huge boost, Yeah. But I think he was almost too ahead of his time.
Yeah, it's bad time for Ken Shamrock in his sense. Also, I don't think they really knew how to use him properly. Maybe less was more with Ken Shamrock, and being on the road every night would have probably spoilt the effect of sort of the world's most dangerous man's tag. When you see him kind of just in matches where he's going to win and lose a lot, it's hard to build anything up. But if they'd have just given his own little run for a while, not even against big names, but just a run, he could have probably got a main event match out of that.
I think the other problem with it might have been was, at this time, it was really heavily story based and heavily based on that how good you were on the mic. Someone like Billy Gunn, great on the mic. Someone like Road Dogg, great on the mic. Someone like Triple H, great on the mic. A lot of them people were getting a lot of time. I'm not sure Shamrock was ever that great with his mic skills.
Good point. Billy Gunn. I mean, it looks like he's going to get a. I'm guessing this is going to end in some sort of weird ending here. I'm guessing a non-clean finish, the way this has gone so far.
They're definitely making that injury look like it was quite bad, because Shamrock not really had a chance to get into this match.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what was your views? They've done the name change. I know it's not a massive deal, and everybody did know him as Billy Gunn. But Mr. Arse, did that work in his favour? Do you think?
I think it was the music that did it, because everyone loved that. Yeah. They loved singing along with that song. Arse man.
See, I thought that would just be a sort of tag name, but they ended up just actually calling him that. It was like a legit thing.
It was a bit edgy as well, wasn't it? Because it was a bit no one had really done that before. I mean, they had those kind of ladies' man images, but just someone coming out there saying how much he loves arse.
Yeah, it was a complete